Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a little bit of a trailer review talking about the newest trailer that just dropped maybe about 20 minutes ago as of the recording of this video, which is Morbius. Now this was technically in association with Marvel Studios, as it's not technically theirs, but it's technically Sony's, but they're still technically doing a deal where the characters can be shared, very much like with Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, and Venom, which are all mentioned in this trailer. Now before we get too deep into Morbius, let me remind you guys to like, comment, and subscribe on this video. If you have seen the trailer, make sure you let me know your thoughts and opinions down below. I will let you know that once again towards the end. But let's go ahead and get into it. So Morbius is the story of Michael Morbius, a guy who grew up with a rare blood disorder and decides that he wants to try and fix that. He's like a world-renowned sort of surgeon, not necessarily as a surgeon, some kind of a doctor that handles all this kind of weird stuff. But essentially he decides to take on the endeavor of curing himself. Now, the way he ends up doing that is, at least from what I see in this trailer, he ends up like doing some experimentation with bats, ends up going to what might possibly some connection with Dracula at some point, I think, maybe. Like cutting open his hand and like doing some kind of like ritual something where he does essentially cure himself, but bad news is he eventually takes on a lot of those things of becoming a vampire, a lot of those traits. He can use like cool things like echolocation, which we see in the trailer, but he also has like the bloodlust and that vampires have. He essentially contracts a form of pseudo-vampirism, as it's called, where he has a lot of the traits of a vampire, although he's technically still alive and not the living dead, kind of like a regular vampire would be. That's essentially the long story short. How this whole thing plays out, I don't really know. I think that the whole trailer and the whole movie itself is just going to be that journey of how he becomes that living vampire, his sort of transformation. There doesn't seem to be like a villain or anybody that's after him, kind of like in Venom where there were those like the science guys who were after the symbiote who were trying to steal it, and then Eddie Brock ended up with the symbiote taking over Venom, things like that. I don't think there's really that storyline unless they're just really introducing us to this character, which it feels like. Now Jared Leto, everybody loves Jared Leto, not so much everybody I should say. I'm sort of on the fence about him. Yes, he's done some good things. I feel like he's a little bit pretentious about a lot of his roles and that what he feels like he's earned, but he's always been like that half in, half out type of guy to me, where he spends half of the time in the movies, half of the time in 30 Seconds to Mars, and so like it's a back and forth. He never really stays in one and masters one. So as an actor, I like him. He's okay, but he's not my favorite. I did do a review of his movie way back when. I don't even remember the name of it, but it was bad. His Joker, I would like to see more of it, but, you know, that's already done now. He's clearly on to the Marvel scene, where hopefully he'll have a little bit more success. But the big thing is how it's going to be connecting to sort of the MCU and Spider-Man. There are going to be some things here that they're going to connect. Now, the big sort of Spider-Man connection in this was ironically a poster as he's walking sort of down the street, but it looks like it's from the video game, the PS4 game of Spider-Man, and not actually an MCU Spider-Man. So how they decided to use that image instead, I thought was kind of interesting. However, towards the end of the trailer, Michael Keaton shows up, who is obviously Adrian Toomes, aka the Vulture, from Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, how that's going to connect and how they're sort of building this sort of shared universe, it almost seems like, I'm going to guess it's going to be called the Sonyverse. I don't really know. Maybe Eddie Brock will show up at some point or be referenced. Same thing with Spider-Man, as we've obviously seen he's in a poster in some way, but it's the wrong Spider-Man. So how they're going to sort of interplay that will definitely be interesting. Am I looking forward towards this movie? Really, no. I really could care less about Morbius, the living vampire, as a character. He was always one of the lesser Spider-Man villains to me. Obviously, the Sinister Six are the big ones, but they've kind of had a bad rep. Hopefully they can get some more introduction later. I know we've had kind of like teases of the Shocker, which I always enjoyed. Scorpion. You know, if we had some of those characters build up, I mean, even Carnage was teased at the end of Venom. So there's a lot of other characters that we could go for here. So why they decided to just abandon a lot of those big ones and go towards Morbius, which is a character I've never really cared about, I'm not sure. Am I still hoping it's a good movie? Of course. Am I putting all my faith into it? Absolutely not. But I hope it's going to be an okay movie. Hopefully it'll be okay enough, kind of like Venom. It's going to have its good stuff, but it's not going to be overly enjoyable for me. I liked Venom, but I'm not like, let's watch Venom again. Like, I sort of get the concept, and I just want them to involve a lot of these characters together Because that's when it starts to get interesting. When it's just Morbius becoming a vampire, you're just giving us a vampire story. Nobody really cares. Unless it's Blade, in which he's killing vampires because he's also part vampire. That's pretty badass. But as to just a guy turning into a vampire, it's just a vampire story with some MCU Spider-Man connections, which I don't know if that's going to be enough to carry the movie. But if you guys have seen the trailer or want to talk about the movie, let me know your thoughts and opinions again down in the comment section down below. Really, that's all I have for now. Just some quick thoughts on Morbius. Make sure you guys are subscribed, like I said earlier, for some future videos. Don't know how quickly they're coming out at this moment, but I'm trying to pump out something to be able to be, continue on this channel, as it is one of my big goals for 2020 to really get back on this channel, really be more proactive, post a lot, and also I am currently on the road to 300 subscribers. Is it a lot? No, there's a lot of bigger channels out there, but help the little guys. I'm at 209. Hashtag road to 300. Help me out. Subscribe. Have some of your friends subscribe. Whatever it takes. Share this video. Get them subscribed. Really, just subscribe. Help me out. Road to 300. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Morbius. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next one.